Grand Theft Auto 5 has been around since 2013, that was 8 years ago, and it'll be 9 years in September. And it's just so crazy to think that we're still playing the same game after all of this time. I mean, to be honest, I thought we would have seen a new GTA by this point, and I guess we technically did with the remaster, but you know, that trilogy doesn't really count as a new game now, does it? This review will be for people who are considering hopping back into the game or even just for the first time, so stick around to the end of the video to hear everything I have to say about Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2022. Now obviously since GTA 5's release we've seen numerous updates to the game, and since my last review of GTA 5 there have been numerous big updates to Grand Theft Auto 5. But before we get any further, I would just like to say that this isn't necessarily a review of the story of Grand Theft Auto 5, it's mainly just the online, considering that's the only part of the game that's ever got any substantial updates. The Cayo Perico Heists, which released on December 15th, 2020, added a brand new approach to the heist design that had been seen in Grand Theft Auto 5. And this included being able to play any heist mission solo, which was absolutely fantastic considering that usually my teammates are quite incompetent. In addition to this, we got a new location, which was the Cayo Perico Islands, as well as new vehicles, tactical weapons, as well as a submarine that would be your base of operations. This is personally one of my more favoured updates to Grand Theft Auto 5, primarily because you had a brand new island to explore, although it was only during the heist missions, as you couldn't just freely explore this island in free roam, which I think was a massively missed opportunity because we had a whole new space to explore, and yet it was only locked off to heists, but Rockstar do what Rockstar gotta do. And honestly, having a heist that took place on an entire island made the whole approach to heists more intriguing and engaging, because you'd be moving from one side of the island to the other while avoiding cars, cameras and security, and if you set them off then you would certainly be screwed, but you'd still probably manage your way to the heist location, and then you've got to go all the way back. It was just a great bit of fun, and an update that I really appreciated because it added so much content to the game. Next we have the Los Santos Tuners update, which released July 20th, 2021. Now this content update just introduced more missions and races, as well as car meets, which is something that have been happening since the very start of Grand Theft Auto 5. As people would be going to car meets just to show off their flashy new Zentorno, well, when the Zentorno was a new car, that is. And in addition to this, there was also a brand new shared social space in Cypress Flats, where you could show off your personal vehicles with your friends and just mingle with other players to race and just to show off your customized vehicles. Now this personally wasn't one of my more favoured updates, purely because I don't enjoy all the car meets. But for car fanatics in GTA 5, and I guess in real life as well, I think this update was very suited to those types of players, as car meets have really been a thing from the very start of the game, and I think it's great that Rockstar have really catered to those fans and given them an actual opportunity and an official way, I guess, to show off their cars with other players. And finally, the most recent update, The Contract, which released December 15th, 2021. Now this update by far was the most anticipated by Grand Theft Auto 5 fans, specifically because Franklin and Lamar were joining us once again from the story mode. And in addition to this, we also had the celebrity casting of Dr. Dre in the get this, just so weird to see it. Now this new update mainly consists of brand new narrative content surrounding Franklin and Dr. Dre, and there are a plethora of new missions, vehicles, guns and locations to traverse and obtain. And some of these missions consist of security missions which actually look quite cool and they are quite fun to do. Now the biggest thing about this update, and hear me out, we've actually got new music for Grand Theft Auto 5, which is absolutely amazing considering that we've been listening to the same music for about 8 years at this point, so it is finally good to see some new tracks being added to the game, even if it's 8 years later. And finally, in regards to the Contract update, there are also the return of the classic payphone hit missions. It's just so beautiful to see. Now, there has been a substantial amount of content added to the game even since its release and my last review, and the game is releasing on current gen now, so the Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, I don't know at this point. Releasing on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. There, I got it, beautiful. And by this happening, I'm assuming that there are going to be much more content updates added to the game in the future. We'll just have to wait and see. But it is just such a shame that there has been no updates to the story mode. However, we knew that this was never going to happen, and at least we got to see Franklin and Lamar in the newest update, which at least is something to see. And while I'm talking about story, I might as well just say this to get it out of the way with. Just play the story mode. It is great, you will really enjoy it, and it is a load of fun. But let's just move back to online. The online portion to the game is still just as toxic as ever thanks to flying cars, motorbikes, jetpacks and orbital strikes, and this is exactly how you'd want the game to be considering the game is about being a criminal and all. But generally I just tend to go into friends only sessions just because I just want to dick around with my friends in a fun, safe environment, but that's just down to personal preference. And I still do jump into Grand Theft Auto 5 often enough when encouraged by my friends as we play playlists, missions, etc. However, we always just end up playing a round of good old golf, and that's the only reason to really play Grand Theft Auto 5, am I right? Now, missions usually consist of user-created content, which is where GTA 5 thrives, because there is endless possibilities from team deathmatches, last team standings, and races. The list goes on with the amount of content that the player base has created. And these are all just fun ways to earn a small bit of cash. However, if you want to earn big money, then you either have to do heists or run your own business transporting cargo or stealing it. And it's just little things like this that Rockstar have done to flesh out the fantasy of being a criminal that just adds to the overall gameplay loop and being a criminal. One thing that I really appreciate about Grand Theft Auto 5 and Rockstar in the same vein is that Grand Theft Auto 5 has never lost its character when it comes to their updates. They just add to it. And what I mean by this is they haven't necessarily strayed too far from where they initially started off from. Yes, we've had heists, which people have wanted for ages, and they've expanded on that significantly with the Cayo Perico heists, Doomsday heists, and even the initial rounds of heists. And yes, although they've added some futuristic elements into the game, like with the jetpack, which was also wanted for a very long time, but in regards to the alien rifle, the alien gun, just everything's alien these days. But what I'm getting at is that it all still fits within Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, maybe not in tone, but in gameplay, as you can use the alien blaster to shoot your friends sky high or shoot their vehicle across the map. It's just so beautiful to see that Rockstar are actually just trying to make the game more fun rather than just realistic. Because Grand Theft Auto 5 is far from realistic at this point. It's definitely been a few years since it's been grounded in reality. But overall, if you really want to dive into Grand Theft Auto 5 once again, or even for the first time, I definitely say go for it. The amount of content that's been added to the game will certainly be expanded upon since you last played the game, especially if it's been quite a while. So whether you're free roaming, doing missions, or even, playing a round of golf, you'll certainly find a thing in Grand Theft Auto 5 that suits what you want to do for fun. And so that was my review of Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2022, and hopefully there'll be another Grand Theft Auto 5 very soon, but at the moment we're just gonna have to stick with Grand Theft Auto 5 and the GTA trilogy, but we don't really speak of that. But yeah, that was Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2022. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then subscribe, like, and turn on that notification button so you don't miss another upload from me. So thank you, and goodbye.